Hi everyone. In this video we will learn how to perform different vector operations in R. So here we create two numeric vectors. We load these vectors in R's global environment. Now we will perform different operations on these vectors. So first we start with the addition of vectors. Here we have defined a variable add underscore result and we add these two vectors. Once we add these two vectors, the results are stored in add underscore result. And when we print the result, we see that the first element is 7. How you get this first element? The way R performs the addition of the vectors is it picks up the first element of the first vector and it picks up the first element of the second vector and then it adds those two values. So the answer is 7. Similarly, it performs element-wise addition for all the elements in the vectors. Next, we look at the subtraction of the vectors. We store the elements in sub underscore result and we subtract these two vectors. When we print the results, we see that the first element of vector 1 is subtracted from the first element of vector 2 and you get the result like this, -5. Similarly, when we look at the multiplication of the vectors and two vectors are multiplied, the results are printed here and we can see that the first element of vector 1 is multiplied with the first element of vector 2 and so on. When you look at the division, the same rule applies. The division is performed element wise. So the first element of vector 1 is divided by the first element of vector 2 and so on. Now let's say if you want to find out the length of the vector, in that case you use the length function and you can put the name of the vector for which you want to find the length. So in this case, the length of vector 1 is equal to 5 and it means that there are 5 elements in vector 1. Let's say you want to access a specific element of a vector. Let's say in vector 1, you want to look at which one is the third element. So here we have this vector 1. We know that the third element is 3 in vector 1. So the way you write this thing is you write in square brackets the index of that element. The index of that element is 3. It means the position of that element is 3 and you want to figure out what is the value of the third element in vector 1. So in this case, when you run this function, you see that the value is 3. The last function that we will discuss today is the concatenation function. So if you concatenate two vectors, it means you combine these two vectors. So once you run this, you see that the results are the first vector, 5 elements of the first vector are combined with the 5 elements of the second vector. Now remember, when you perform these operations, we assume that both the vectors are of equal length. If the vectors are not of equal length, the operations will not be performed uniformly. This is all for today. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.